The vet froze mid-checkup, her stethoscope slipping from her hands. The pregnant German shepherd lying before her was trembling, her breathing shallow, eyes wide with pain. But what the vet saw on the scan made her blood run cold. Something inside the dog was moving wrongly. Her heartbeat raced as she whispered, This can't be right." Moments later, chaos erupted in the clinic as the dog began to deliver. The vet called for assistance, but when the first newborn arrived, everyone in the room gasped. What the German shepherd gave birth to wasn't just shocking. It was something no one in that town would ever forget. Stay till the end because what happened next will leave you speechless. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious. Where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The first light of dawn stretched gently across the quiet countryside, painting the fields in a pale golden hue. Dew clung to the blades of grass, glistening like tiny drops of glass. The peaceful silence was broken only by the distant sound of roosters and the rustle of leaves in the morning breeze. But just beyond the wooden gate of a small farmhouse, something unusual stirred, a faint whimper, weak and desperate, rising and fading with each breath. Old Farmer Thomas, who had risen early to fetch water from the well, paused mid-step, his brow furrowed as he turned toward the sound. There, lying near the gate, was a German shepherd, massive, beautiful, and heavily pregnant. Her fur was matted with dirt, her eyes half open and her body trembling from exhaustion. She looked like she had been wandering for days. Thomas's heart sank. "Oh no, you poor thing," he murmured, kneeling beside her. The dog's belly was alarmingly swollen, more than he'd ever seen before. Her breathing was shallow, and every few moments a soft cry escaped her. She tried to lift her head when Thomas reached out, but she was too weak. He noticed her paws were raw, her nails chipped from walking miles on rough terrain. It was clear she hadn't just wandered. She had been searching for help. Thomas hurried back to his farmhouse, grabbing his phone with trembling hands. "Dr. Harris," he said urgently, "there's a dog out front. She's in bad shape, pregnant, maybe close to giving birth, but something's not right." Within minutes, the animal clinic confirmed they were on their way. As Thomas returned to the gate, the shepherd's eyes fluttered open again. For a brief moment, their gazes met, hers filled with silent pain and trust. The old man whispered softly, "Hold on, girl. Help's coming." The morning sun rose higher, but the air carried an unsettling stillness. No one could have known that this fragile creature lying at the gate was about to reveal one of the most shocking miracles the town would ever witness. Dr. Emily Harris arrived at the farmhouse minutes later, her truck bouncing along the dirt road. She had been a veterinarian for over 12 years, but something about the urgency in the farmer's voice made her heart race. As she stepped out, the crisp morning air hit her face and she immediately spotted the German shepherd lying motionless near the gate. Her medical kit clinked softly in her hand as she hurried forward. Thomas met her halfway, his face lined with worry. "She's over there, Doc. I think she's fading." Emily nodded and knelt beside the dog, her movements calm but quick. "Hey there, sweetheart," she whispered, placing a gentle hand on the animal's side. The shepherd's body was cold to the touch, her breathing irregular. Emily could feel her ribs expanding unevenly, each breath sounding more labored than the last. She checked the pulse, then the eyes, dull and sunken. "She's dehydrated and weak," Emily said softly. "But she's still holding on." Pulling on her gloves, she pressed her stethoscope against the dog's swollen belly. Her brow furrowed immediately. There was movement, yes, but not the rhythmic flutter of multiple heartbeats she expected from unborn puppies. Instead, it was erratic, uneven, almost chaotic. Something was wrong. "She's in distress," Emily muttered, glancing at Thomas. "We need to move her now." The farmer helped her lift the shepherd carefully onto a portable stretcher. As they loaded her into the back of the vehicle, Emily's mind raced through possibilities. Complications during pregnancy, internal bleeding, or worse, a ruptured uterus. But one detail haunted her, the strange shifting under her hand, like something inside was pressing back. As the truck sped toward the clinic, Emily kept one hand on the dog's paw, feeling faint tremors of life pulsing beneath her glove. "Hang in there, girl," she whispered. "You've come too far to give up now." The countryside blurred past, and in that silent drive, Emily didn't know she was heading straight into one of the most baffling and emotional cases of her career. The moment Dr. Emily Harris carried the exhausted German shepherd, now officially registered as Luna. Into the clinic, the air changed. The soft hum of the fluorescent lights and the faint scent of disinfectant filled the small emergency room. But everyone could sense that something about this case was different. Emily's assistant Mia hurried to prepare the examination table, while Emily gently laid Luna down, wrapping her in a warm blanket. Her temperature's spiking, Mia reported after a quick check. The thermometer beeped urgently, confirming what Emily already suspected. Luna was in critical condition. Her heartbeat was rapid, uneven, and her breathing shallow. Emily ran her stethoscope across the dog's abdomen again. And the strange movements returned, unpredictable, almost like something twisting from within. Her vitals are unstable, Emily murmured, jotting quick notes. We need fluids, oxygen, and a mild sedative. She's in pain. As Mia rushed to comply, Emily's eyes remained locked on Luna's belly. It wasn't just large, it looked unnaturally distended, as though something inside was pushing outward. Luna whimpered softly, her paws twitching, eyes glassy with exhaustion. Emily gently stroked her head. It's okay, girl. You're safe now. But deep down, the vet's instincts screamed that something far more serious was happening. She ruled out common complications, oversized litter, infection, or a simple delivery delay. But none of it matched what she was seeing. When Luna refused to eat or drink, Emily's concern deepened. Her body temperature continued climbing and faint spasms rippled along her abdomen. The movements weren't rhythmic like contractions, they were erratic and unsettling. It's almost like she's fighting something inside her, Mia whispered, uneasy. Emily nodded gravely. If we don't find out what's causing this soon, both she and her puppies could be in danger. The vet took a deep breath and looked at the monitor one more time. Her hand trembled slightly as she adjusted the ultrasound machine. Whatever was happening inside Luna wasn't normal, and Emily was about to uncover something that would leave even her, a seasoned professional, utterly speechless. The clinic had grown tense and quiet, broken only by the steady beep of monitors and Luna's faint whimpers. Dr. Emily Harris moved with purpose, her mind locked in crisis mode. She prepped the ultrasound machine, adjusting the probe with steady hands even as her heart pounded in her chest. Mia stood beside her, holding Luna still. Easy, girl, she whispered softly. The dog's eyes fluttered, filled with silent pain and confusion. When the ultrasound screen flickered to life, Emily leaned closer, narrowing her eyes. The shadows on the monitor didn't make sense. Wait, she muttered. The puppy's outlines were visible, but their movements were strange, uncoordinated, almost violent. Instead of small rhythmic motions, it looked like something shifting abruptly, as though struggling for space. This isn't normal, Emily said under her breath. Mia frowned. Are they alive? Emily hesitated. Some of them, yes, but something's obstructing the birth canal. One of the pups might be stuck. She adjusted the angle, her expression darkening. If we don't act now, she'll lose them, and herself. They prepared for emergency intervention. The oxygen mask went over Luna's muzzle, and Emily injected fluids into her IV line. The dog's breathing steadied slightly, but her temperature kept climbing. She's going into early labor, Emily said grimly. Luna let out a deep guttural cry that echoed through the clinic. Her body tensed violently as another contraction hit. The heart rate monitor spiked. We're running out of time, Emily said, her voice low but urgent. Mia handed her the sterile gloves. Should we call for surgical prep? Emily nodded sharply. Yes, get the surgical suite ready now. As Mia sprinted down the hall, Emily stayed by Luna's side, whispering softly, You're strong, girl. Just hold on. But in the back of her mind, a chilling thought lingered. What she had seen on that ultrasound didn't just look unusual. It looked impossible. And as the minutes ticked by, Emily realized that whatever was inside Luna wasn't just a medical emergency. It was a mystery she wasn't ready to face. The storm outside had started to build, wind rattling against the clinic windows as if nature itself sensed what was coming. Inside, the air was heavy with tension. Luna's contractions had begun, violent, irregular, and excruciatingly painful. Her whimpers filled the sterile room, each one sharper than the last. Dr. Emily Harris stood at her side, gloves on, heart pounding. It's okay, Luna. Breathe with me, she whispered, her voice trembling despite her calm exterior. The first stage of labor came fast. Emily had seen hundreds of deliveries, but this one was different. Luna's muscles contracted, her abdomen tightening as if locked in battle. The monitor beeped rapidly. Heart rates dropping. Mia called out from the side. Emily's stomach twisted. "Keep the oxygen steady," she ordered, her eyes fixed on the trembling dog. Minutes felt like hours as the contractions intensified. Luna's body convulsed, yet nothing emerged. Emily leaned closer, assessing. "She's fully dilated, but something's blocking the passage," she said grimly. "It's one of the pups. It's stuck." Mia's eyes widened. "Can she survive that?" "Not unless we help her," Emily replied, grabbing sterile instruments. "We're going in." With gentle precision, Emily began assisting manually, guiding the trapped puppy through the canal. Luna cried out in agony, but Emily didn't waver. Sweat trickled down her forehead as she whispered, "You're doing great, girl. Stay with me." Slowly, painfully, the obstruction began to shift. After what felt like an eternity, a small, limp body slid out onto the sterile towel. Silence filled the room. The puppy wasn't moving. For a single crushing moment, time froze. Emily's chest tightened, until Luna let out a faint whine, licking the motionless newborn. "Come on, little one," Emily whispered, rubbing its chest. Then a weak squeak broke through the silence. The puppy moved. A collective sigh of relief filled the room, but Emily's hands didn't stop shaking. Something about the newborn's appearance, the color of its fur, the shape of its limbs, didn't look right. And deep inside she knew this was only the beginning. The faint cry of the first puppy brought a wave of relief through the clinic, but it was short-lived. Luna's body tensed again, her breathing ragged as another contraction rippled through her abdomen. Dr. Emily Harris steadied herself, her hands firm yet gentle. "She's not done," she said quietly. "There's more coming." Mia handed her fresh towels and adjusted the lighting. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Every sound amplified, the rhythmic beeping of the monitor, the shallow gasps of the exhausted mother, and the hum of the oxygen machine. "Easy, girl," Emily murmured. "You're almost there." But Luna's cries grew louder, more desperate. Sweat beaded on Emily's forehead. Something wasn't right again. The next puppy didn't come easily. Minutes passed with no progress. Emily's gut twisted. Luna was weakening fast. "We're losing strength in her contractions," she muttered. "We'll have to assist again." With practiced care, she reached inside, feeling for the next pup. Her expression hardened. "This one's breech." Mia's eyes widened. "Oh no, that's bad, isn't it?" "Very," Emily replied. "If we don't get it out soon, both could die." The seconds stretched painfully as Emily worked, coaxing the tiny life into the world. The room was silent except for Luna's strained breathing and the storm raging outside. Finally, with a trembling pull, the second puppy emerged, but it was motionless too. No sound, no breath. Emily's heart clenched. No, not again." She rubbed the tiny body with brisk, desperate movements. "Come on, fight for me," she whispered. Then suddenly a faint gasp. The puppy twitched, letting out a fragile, high-pitched squeak. Relief washed over the room like a tide. Luna licked the newborn gently, curling her body protectively around both pups. Emily exhaled, but her mind was spinning. The second puppy looked strange, its fur unusually light with a silver streak across its back. Mia noticed it too. "Dr. Harris, have you ever seen anything like that before?" Emily didn't answer. She just stared, her pulse quickening. Something about these puppies defied everything she knew about nature. And the real shock hadn't even arrived yet. For a few moments, the clinic was silent except for the faint squeaks of the newborn puppies. Luna panted weakly, exhaustion pulling at her every breath. Dr. Emily Harris sat back on her stool, watching the mother instinctively nuzzle her babies. But her gaze kept drifting toward the strange, silver-marked puppy. Its fur shimmered faintly under the light, and its breathing was slower, deeper than the others. Something about it didn't feel normal. "Let's check them all," Emily said softly, putting on fresh gloves. She carefully lifted each newborn, examining them one by one. The first seemed fine, small but healthy. The second, the silver one, was different. Its bones felt oddly structured beneath her fingers, slightly heavier than they should be. She frowned and placed it under the examination lamp. "Mia, look at this." Mia leaned closer, her eyes widening. "Is that a birthmark?" Emily shook her head. "No, that's pigmentation. But look closer." It's not just color. The pattern runs along the spine, almost symmetrical. She moved the light again, revealing faint ridges under the skin like small lines of hardened tissue. This isn't normal canine development, she whispered. Mia looked pale. Could it be a deformity? Maybe, Emily said, though her voice lacked conviction. But I've never seen one like this. It's deliberate, like it's been altered before birth. Her thoughts raced. Crossbreeding, genetic modification, experimental breeding programs, possibilities she wished weren't real. Luna whimpered softly, drawing Emily's attention back. The mother dog licked her unusual pup protectively, as if sensing her baby was different. Emily hesitated before saying, "We'll run tests. Blood work, x-rays, everything." As Mia gathered the samples, Emily took a deep breath. Her pulse was unsteady. Every instinct told her this was bigger than a simple medical anomaly. She glanced once more at the sleeping puppies, their tiny chests rising and falling, and whispered, "What happened to you, Luna?" Outside, thunder rolled across the sky, shaking the windows. Inside, Emily stared at the monitor showing the ultrasound data again, and froze. One last heartbeat flickered on the screen. There was another life still inside. Dr. Emily Harris's heart skipped as she stared at the faint flicker on the monitor. Another heartbeat. "She's not done," she whispered. "There's still one more inside." Mia looked shocked. "But we've already delivered two. How's that possible?" Emily didn't answer. She simply adjusted the machine and began scanning again. The heartbeat was faint, irregular, as if the unborn pup was struggling for life. "We have to get it out now." Moments later, Emily prepared for another assisted delivery. Luna was barely conscious, her breath shallow. "Stay with me, girl," Emily urged. The final contraction came, weaker than before, but with one careful pull, Emily lifted the third puppy into the world. It was small, silent, and wrapped in a thin membrane unlike any she had seen. She quickly tore it open and froze. The puppy's fur was snow-white, its eyes faintly bluish even though they were still closed. Its heartbeat was slow but steady. "Incredible," she whispered, stunned by its appearance. It looked nothing like its mother, or the other pups. Before Emily could process it, the clinic door creaked open. Officer Mark Daniels stepped in, responding to the emergency call from the morning. "Heard you rescued a pregnant shepherd," he said. "Mind if I check the tag chip? Maybe we can trace the owner." Emily nodded absently. "Go ahead." Mark scanned Luna's neck, and the device beeped. His brow furrowed. "This ID was flagged months ago," he said quietly. "She escaped from an illegal breeding facility outside town. The place was raided, but we never found all the dogs." Emily's stomach turned. "Illegal breeding?" Mark nodded grimly. "Genetic experimentation. They were crossing breeds unnaturally, trying to create stronger hybrids. Most didn't survive." Emily looked back at the newborns, especially the silver and white ones. A chill ran through her. "That means," Mark's voice dropped low, "those puppies might not just be rare. They could be the last survivors of something no one was ever meant to see." Thunder cracked outside, shaking the windows. Emily glanced at Luna, who weakly opened her eyes as if pleading, "Protect them." The storm had grown louder outside, lightning flashing across the dark sky, but inside the clinic, time seemed to stand still. The newborn white puppy lay motionless on the towel, its chest barely moving. Dr. Emily Harris leaned in, her pulse racing. "Come on, little one," she whispered, rubbing its body gently with the towel. Luna whimpered weakly, her eyes pleading, as if she understood that her last baby was slipping away. Mia hovered nearby, biting her lip. "There's no pulse reading," she murmured, glancing at the monitor. Emily refused to accept it. "No, not yet," she said, her tone firm. "We're not losing this one." She tilted the puppy's head slightly, pressing 2 fingers against its tiny chest. Then she began compressions, gentle but rhythmic. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3. Minutes passed. The clock ticked loudly, the tension unbearable. "Dr. Harris." Mia's voice faltered, but Emily didn't stop. "Breathe," she whispered, exhaling a faint puff of air into the puppy's muzzle. Again and again. Then, suddenly, movement. A twitch. A faint broken sound filled the air. A fragile cry. Mia gasped, her eyes widening. "It's alive." Emily smiled faintly, relief flooding her face. "That's it. That's it, little fighter." She wrapped the trembling pup in a soft cloth and placed it beside Luna. The mother immediately leaned in, licking it tenderly, whining softly as if thanking the humans who had saved her baby. The room fell into a hush. Even the storm outside seemed to soften. Emily sat back, exhausted, watching the tiny family huddled together. All 3 puppies were breathing now, their little bodies pressing against their mother's warmth. Mia wiped her eyes. "I've never seen anything like that," she whispered. Emily nodded, voice low. "Neither have I. That puppy should have never made it, but it did." As Luna drifted into exhausted sleep, Emily whispered, "You're a miracle, Luna." The flickering lights cast a gentle glow over the room, a quiet testament that life, no matter how fragile, could defy the impossible when given just one more chance. Morning sunlight streamed softly through the clinic windows, painting the room in shades of gold. The storm had passed, leaving behind a calm silence that felt almost sacred. Luna lay resting on a clean blanket, her 3 puppies nestled close to her belly. Their tiny breaths rose and fell in perfect rhythm, proof that they had survived the night. Dr. Emily Harris sat nearby, exhausted but smiling faintly. She had witnessed hundreds of births, but none like this. A soft knock at the door broke her thoughts. Officer Mark Daniels stepped in holding a folder. "Lab results came in," he said quietly. Emily's heart quickened. She took the papers, scanning the data line by line, then stopped. "This can't be right," she whispered. "These genetic markers, they're not from a single breed." Mark nodded gravely. "The analysis confirms it. Luna's puppies are hybrids but not from natural breeding. Someone engineered them." Emily's eyes flickered toward the litter. The silver-marked pup stirred, letting out a small yawn. Its coat shimmered faintly under the light as if dusted with starlight. News spread quickly. Within days, journalists, scientists, and animal welfare groups arrived, all eager to see the miraculous puppies that had survived impossible odds. But Emily refused to let them become spectacles. "They're not experiments," she said firmly. "They're living beings, proof that compassion saved what cruelty created." Weeks later, Luna and her pups were healthy and thriving. The white puppy, once lifeless, had grown the strongest, a symbol of resilience. People from around the world sent letters calling Luna a hero. Emily often stood by their kennel, watching the little family play. Every time the golden sun touched the silver streak on the puppy's back, it glowed faintly, a quiet reminder of the night that tested faith, love, and life itself. And deep down, Emily knew one truth that would stay with her forever. Sometimes the greatest miracles come from the most broken beginnings.